if you are just looking for a short-term break and the glamour of startup कि यार मैं भी ऐसी कंपनी बना दूंगा जो 15,000 करोड़ की हो जाएगी और मैं भी पेपर में आऊँगा और मेरे भी इंटरव्यूज होंगे, यूनिकॉर्न मैं भी यूनिकॉर्न बन जाऊँगा. एस्पिरेशन तो वही है फिर भी, लेकिन रियलिटी रिमेन दैट I got my 6-7 minutes with him and I was ripped apart during those 6-7 minutes. That, you know, you guys as an industry, and it's not an India problem, he said, it's a problem all over the world. You just don't deliver what you promise. If all of you guys could really go experience virtually what you're going to eventually build, that could be the game changer. Trezi in two parts is transforming design. The transformative intervention I was talking about. So you are designing in a particular way and you're documenting and creating models in a particular way. Bring that model onto an immersive platform, and that is what really transforms your design for the greater understanding of people down the street.
नई कंपनीज भी आई हैं, लिव स्पेस, होमलिन, दे आर इंटीरियर कंपनी, बट वो भी स्टार्ट किया किसी IITian ने जो कि बिल्कुल इस बैकग्राउंड से नहीं.
They're not from the profession where you need a tech entrepreneur to come in and start creating livelihoods and jobs for you. Now the home improvement companies that you spoke about, I didn't take any names and I won't. Those companies, their claim to fame is what they're generating business for, right? The interventions that we have in the tech-based interventions in our industry have been created by outsiders. Architect, like you just said, the architects from inside the industry have not created this. Processes हो गए, हमने पढ़ लिया critical path method और PERT और CPM वो सब हो गया, लेकिन भाई उसका implementation कौन कर रहा है? There is very little improvement that has happened in that space. I mean, you go to a construction, you go to your own construction site. From the construction sort of hardware that people use to the construction methodologies to equipment to safety gear. चप्पलों में लोग काम करते हैं, स्कैफोल्डिंग कहीं से टूटी हुई होती है. You don't even know how many deaths happen on a construction site because that is the callous level of commitment that we have towards human life, especially on a construction project. So,
नमस्कार दोस्तों, welcome to the PM show. Today we have a very interesting personality as our guest speaker. He has a diverse architectural experience of more than 20 years and 6 years in software technology. He co-founded Smartviz in 2015 with his partner. Currently, he is working on a software Trezi, which is a product under Smartviz. Trezi is India's first VR product for the building industry. Stay with us till the end as we talk about mindsets, entrepreneurship in AEC industry, and how immersive technologies are not even the tip of the iceberg. I present to you all the founder and CPO of Trezi, Mr. Gautam Tewari. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
So, I would like to start with your early days, your college days. Why did you choose architecture?
Okay, that's an interesting start. I actually, unlike a lot of people that I know in my life, I did not dream to be an architect. And like a lot of people that are there in my life currently as really, really good friends from a long time back, I actually wanted to be a cricketer. But so it happened that due to typical academic pressures, my family kind of told me to focus. I had to go for a camp during my 10th class pre-boards, and my family decided that I was a reasonably good student. It was not that an academic was an issue, but it was just that the timing of the camp was coinciding with my pre-board exams. My family decided that I should be focusing on giving the exam rather than attending the cricket camp, which was, I think, in Patiala, if I'm not wrong. And at that moment in time, the career choice, I come from a family of doctors. So I was sure that I would become a doctor and be playing cricket as well, as any young mind who at that time thought balancing cricket and medical studies could be manageable. So that is what my path really was. And as a matter of revolt, then I decided that because I'm not being allowed to play cricket, I will go and not do medicine as well. And my brother was already doing architecture at that point in time. He was the first batch of Sushant School of Architecture. So because now I was not going to be playing cricket, and I definitely did not want to become a doctor, the only profession that was there in front of me at that point in time that I had an appreciation of was architecture. And that's how my foray with architecture began. So my entire 11th and 12th, I kind of went into preparing for the entrance exam. It's unlike what it is now. All the leading architectural colleges had their own independent exams. So the first exam I gave was CEPT Ahmedabad, which I did not get through. The next exam was ID Vidyanagar. So from Ahmedabad, we went to Vidyanagar, and I got through that. So I just kind of, as soon as I qualified, I accepted the admission offer, and that started my journey in architecture.
Sir, then in which year you graduated?
I finished my architecture in the year 1997. From ID Vallabh Vidyanagar.
Vidyanagar only?
Yeah.
Okay. Then after that graduation, you did?
I came back to Delhi and I started working as a junior architect at that point in time. And during this time, it occurred to me that creative was not my calling, really, So I realized that I would not be the designing sort of an architect fairly early in the journey. And I focused my energies on doing construction management. So in 1999, I went to the University of New South Wales in Sydney. And 99 and 2000, I finished my master's in construction management.
So उस टाइम पे तो I think काफ़ी टफ होता था ना बाहर जाना.
टफ होता था, बहुत टफ होता था.
99 I was born.
टफ तो होता था, सही बात है. और ऊपर से the whole concept of construction management was also very new.
हाँ.
NICMAR had just been formed in the country. One of my very dear friends went to NICMAR to do his construction management, and both of us kind of used to discuss a lot. I mean, he started an year earlier, and during one of those late night discussions, it's so the thought of going out and doing construction management took shape. And I remember, and you're right, coming to your point, tough hota tha because गिन चुन के मेरे ख्याल 5 या 6 ऐसी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ थी जो आर्किटेक्चरल फैकल्टी का पार्ट थी और मास्टर्स इन कंस्ट्रक्शन मैनेजमेंट की डिग्री देती थी. रेस्ट ऑल ऑफ देम अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड वर अ सिविल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट गिविंग यू अ मास्टर्स इन कंस्ट्रक्शन मैनेजमेंट graduate program, offering a graduate program in this particular course. So I actually got through a few universities in the US. I got through the Virginia Tech University. I got through University of Southern California. I got through Arizona State University. And there was one more university in the US that I got through. Interestingly, the course that I went to do at University of New South Wales, that was one of the few courses where the master's degree was being offered as a part of the Faculty of Built Environment, FBE. And that is what was one of the deciding factors in the favor of this particular course. A lot of people ask me that why aren't you going to the US? Why are you going to Australia? 2 reasons. One, because primarily this was going to be a part of the architectural discipline, the master's degree. And another one, important enough, was I could still continue playing cricket. So those 2 reasons helped me kind of decide.
Maybe with the county cricket से Australia team.
वहाँ तो पता नहीं, वहाँ तो great cricket होता था, county cricket तो नहीं, but it was Australian great cricket is really, really competitive. Amazing experience those 3 years.
सर आज की जनरेशन, इवन हमारे जो साथ के स्टूडेंट्स थे, उनके लिए भी MBA इन कंस्ट्रक्शन मैनेजमेंट कुछ लोग के लिए काफ़ी नया हो जाता था कि अच्छा फील्ड चेंज हो जाएगा.
और आप 2020 की बात कर रहे हो?
2025 की बात कर रहा हूँ.
25 की भी बात कर रहे हो? आई थॉट यू टॉकिंग अबाउट 2020
उस टाइम पे आइडिया कहाँ से आया? मतलब आई डोंट थिंक किसी से पता चला होगा, आपने खुद ही सर्च किया?
नहीं, तो पता चला था फ्रॉम अ फ्यू सीनियर्स ऑफ द प्रोफेशन हु हैड ऑलरेडी बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोफेशन हु टोल्ड अस दैट बैक देन, जो अभी भी आप बात करते होगे ना कि द कंस्ट्रक्शन डिजाइन इंडस्ट्री हैज गॉन टू द डॉग्स, आपको आखिरी 5% फीस का नहीं मिलता और ये और वो, तब से बात चल रही है. ठीक है, it's nothing new. And everybody said that if there was a way to maximize your involvement in a project to ensure its a success, it would probably be best to be a part of the construction process also, and not just end your involvement with design and then just take a supervisory sort of a role in the project, right? So I found that very intriguing, and I thought that was something that really appealed to me, that if I am kind of उस time तो फिर भी blueprints or 2D drawings बनाते. If I'm kind of creating a plan that has to eventually manifest itself into a built form, then my responsibility should not be just ending at the fact that with the fact that my design is done, my drawings are given. Now it is up to the contractor to deliver the project or contracting firm, depending on the scale of the project. I should be able to take the responsibility right till the occupancy stage in a process of project delivery. There are various phases, right? There is pre-design, there is design, there is construction documentation, construction, and then occupancy. So I should be able to take the project right till the occupancy phase because that is where the true design intent will get delivered. And that's what my thought was.
And you did your construction management, then you joined Space Matrix.
No, Space Matrix happened later. So 2000.
And also just to add one question, कि तब तक startup का idea आया था?
नहीं कोई startup का idea नहीं आया था. Startup का idea तो बहुत बाद में आया. So I did not immediately join Space Matrix. Space Matrix happened in the year 2005. So I finished my master's in 2001. Did a few internships across the Asia Pacific region, working as a hardcore contract support of a larger contract administration group in large format projects with large project management firms. And then I joined an Australian firm in Delhi for this whole process, which was very new at that point in time, which is now design and build, corporate design and build. So the traditional methods of project delivery, the designer being the real, authority, the top authority in a project, and then having an influence over the contractor selection and various other things that get done in a project was getting challenged. And more customers were asking for a single point of responsibility. That's where the design and build and the turnkey mode of project delivery started making its presence felt, right? So I, in 2002, started working with a firm, an Australian firm, which was bringing this whole process of non-traditional methods of project delivery, design and build / turnkey into the country. And I worked with them for a good 3 years before I joined Space Matrix as the head of projects there.
Nice. So we have a good idea about your background.
Yes.
Now let's come to Trezi, जिसकी वजह से हम आपको जान पाए.
तो ट्रेजी का सवाल पूछो आप. हाँ.
So सर, एक तो Trezi नेम, एंड देन वो आइडिया कैसे आया कि विजुअलाइजेशन पे काम करते हैं?
तो नाम पे फिर बाद में आते हैं. पहले मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि आइडिया कैसे आया. So as you already know, you've done your research on my career graph. So I had responsibility of delivering projects in my previous firm. So I think there were 14 offices across the Asia Pacific region. So for a good part of my journey, I was responsible for a lot of those projects getting delivered. And whether it was Delhi or it was Bombay or it was Singapore or it was Bangkok, the perennial problem, the pet peeve of a customer always was that what you have shown me is what has not gotten delivered. And my previous firm, we had really fascinating and really high-end 3D visualizers. They could actually visualize that piece of cut glass on the table. They could go to that level of detail in the 3D visualization. But despite that, the challenge of the mismatch of expectation never went away. My last project, I still remember, was one for, I will not take any names, but it was for one of the largest corporate giants in Pune, in the outskirts of Pune. And that project was being spearheaded by their global CEO at that point in time. When he came to take the facility over from Seattle, I got my 6-7 minutes with him, and I was ripped apart during those 6-7 minutes. That, you guys as an industry, and it's not an India problem, he said, it's a problem all over the world. You just don't deliver what you promise. And in those 6-7 minutes, 5 minutes, I was ripped apart. But 1 minute he took to give me a brilliant idea. And this, I'm talking about year 2014 or 2015. He said, the world is going immersive right now because around about that time, Facebook had acquired Oculus for a couple of $1 billion. Microsoft HoloLens was coming out. HTC Vive was coming out in the market. He said that if you can use a technology that helps you help your clients walk the design with you, and not just you guys, but even this fragmented ecosystem that is the norm of your industry. If all of you guys could really go experience virtually what you're going to eventually build, that could be the game changer. And that was the aha moment really for me. I took that advice fairly seriously, and while ideating, and I'm talking about 2015 right now, thought that if there was a way of merging architectural visualization, design visualization with these new gaming technologies that were offering immersive experiences, that could really be a game changer. And that's what was the idea for Trezi. So Trezi did not start even at the time when we started up. Trezi came in about 3 years later.
Before that was Smartviz.
Smartviz is the company, and it still exists. It's the parent company, but it was largely creating experiences. And what I mean by creating experiences, it was a very services-based offering.
Trezi is a product of that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. One of the products. Trezi's journey started with Smartviz creating solutions, going to our customers, people loving what we were doing. But over a period of time, people started saying that, hey, listen, there's way too much dependency on you guys. Is there a way where we can ourselves create what you guys are creating for us? That brought the next transformative idea for us. And remember the word transformative because I'm coming to now how Trezi kind of got its name. Because people started saying that, listen, one, you're taking too much time to create what you have to create, costs us too much money. Plus, we would like to kind of see if there was a more democratic way of using the technology that is on offer. And around about this time, we also kind of, a few investors approached us. We never really went out and asked for money because we had no idea around raising capital. So the word was already out that there is a group of architects which is creating this particular intervention for the architecture, engineering and construction industry. So a few people called us when they saw our demos, and we got our first angel round done fairly quickly in our journey. But when the investors came on board, they also told us that, guys, the power of this, what you're creating, we love what you're doing, but the power, real power will come from the fact that if you're able to productize this entire journey. So 2018, Trezi's ideation began, and late 2018, early 2019, the product went into the market. What is the product? What was the product about? Product was simply take your current architectural authoring methodologies. You work on Revit, you work on SketchUp, you work on 3D Max, click of a button, bring it into Trezi, see it get turn into a virtual model. And today, you don't necessarily need a VR headset. You can kind of interact with the models on phone or on just the desktop or your laptops or the VR devices. And now today there are augmented reality based capabilities and a lot of new things that have come in. But at that point in time, when we went out into the market, we were a hardcore VR based product only. VR first, we used to call ourselves. Now, Trezi in two parts is transforming design, the transformative intervention that I was talking about. So you are designing in a particular way and you're documenting and creating models in a particular way, bring that model onto an immersive platform. And that is what really transforms your design for the greater understanding of people down the stream. You and I are architects, okay? You and I are trained to think in the Z-axis. We may not even need a 3D model to actually figure out what we intend to do. But your client, the people who have to build the things for you, they are not trained in the manner that you and I have been trained, right? The 5 years that we spend in architecture.
We can imagine 3D just by seeing 2D.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's what we do. And that's what the problem of our profession is, right? When the client does not understand what we pitch to them right in the beginning, and eventually when the project takes shape, the client walks in and says, yaar, ye to waisa hai hi nahi jaisa maine socha tha. That is when the real mess starts to happen, right? So Trezi is trying to address all of that, to bridge the gap of mismatch of expectations. That's how it started. Today, it's taken a very, very vast shape, but that's how the journey started.
Sir, you have explained it very simply, but I know आपने बोल दिया product आ गया, but उसके बीच का time, please tell about that. How is the process?
It's been a challenge, to be honest.
How do you hire people? How do you?
Yeah, I was coming to that. I was just coming to that because see, services, हम सब services mindset वाले हैं, right? Product की thinking और services की thinking बिल्कुल अलग होती है. Somebody told me very early in this journey that, and I was just not getting it. I said, "What's the big deal?" And it was a very cavalier sort of an attitude that I still do, but maybe over the period of time it's toned down a bit. But honestly speaking, that time when people used to say that, look, this services to product sort of a mindset shift first, and then business sort of a paradigm shift is not an easy one to do. And I get it today, because the simplistic example that I got, and if any of the young entrepreneurs are watching this particular podcast and do not have an appreciation of the product way of thinking, when you sell a pencil, you sell a pencil. The pencil wala guy or the pencil manufacturer does not come to you and say, मैं इसे sharpen भी कर दूँ, हाँ ये लो sharpen किया और आपको दिया, अच्छा आपने बहुत टाइम तक यूज़ कर लिया, लाइए वापस मुझे दीजिए, I'll sharpen it again, continue use it. You've bought a product. Now it's your responsibility to make sure that product works for you the way it has to. You have the liberty and the wherewithal to kind of go and work with some other product if you don't like that one. But the point is that the product manufacturer is not going to sit with you and make you use the product the way you wish to. And that's what it's about. I mean, the whole journey when we are, and it's happened with us. Because we were from a services sort of a background, we were constantly worrying, and not in a bad way. I mean, it was all part of a learning process, but we were constantly kind of sending people out to meet our customers, which in the initial part was fine because the product was still making its presence felt. We were understanding our customers, but we spent way too much time fine-tuning things based on every customer's feedback. You have to understand, you have to collect the feedback, you have to bring it into your product roadmap, you have to kind of build the product. There are various things that happen, when the engineering group goes into sprints and there's a sprint, there's a roadmap developed, then there are sprints and those sprints kind of keep incremental. Again, there is agile product development, there is waterfall product development. So we went the agile way, the world has gone the agile way. It's not that it's just us. So all that understanding was not day one for us, and the mess that we got ourselves into was that because we were services thinkers, we got a lot of services oriented thinkers to lead the product group. It probably took us good 14, 15 months before we really got a solid product guy to lead the product. And that is when really the product journey for us started taking a meaningful shape. Usse pehle it was just, we were kind of all trying to do things with a very good intent. And we did created a reasonably good usable product too. But the product thinking in the group took some time to come through. So that was our biggest challenge.
So you have an in-house team or?
Yeah, in-house. Now today it's 100% in-house.
Okay. And sir, what was your age when you started Trezi, if you don't mind?
No, I don't mind. I had already turned 40 when I started this, and this year I turned 50. So Trezi happened around year 44, 45 for me. Smartviz started when I turned 41, I think. Yeah.
So उस stage में आके ये courage कैसे आता है? I am sure आप उस time पे काफी stable रहोगे life में.
यार हाँ, मतलब life has been kind, to be honest. My previous stints, both Tithi है ना, in fact, courage सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि मैंने ये किया. Tithi who...
Yeah, your partner.
So she's my wife and we are both co-founders and we had a fairly reasonably cushy life and we were very hardworking people and there were a lot of challenges that we faced in our previous avatars as well. But at least we were doing things that we were trained to do. This was an absolutely new thing that we got into, right? And then we left salaried jobs to come into an absolutely uncertain territory, uncertain times, and uncertain remuneration. I mean, till today, that's the challenge that we face because we have to kind of keep the company going, and people in the company have to earn before we earn. I mean, at least that's the philosophy that that we started this with, So it was a very, very bold move. It was a very, very audacious move for both of us. But we had a lot of conviction. I think, when you have a conviction, the challenges start to appear very small. When if you are, chasing the right cause, let me put it that way. If you are just looking for a short-term break and the glamour of startup कि यार मैं भी ऐसी कंपनी बना दूंगा जो 15,000 करोड़ की हो जाएगी और मैं भी पेपर में आऊँगा और मेरे भी इंटरव्यूज होंगे यूनिकॉर्न मैं भी यूनिकॉर्न बन जाऊँगा एस्पिरेशन तो वही है फिर भी लेकिन रियलिटी रिमेन्स दैट when your audacious decision is actually taking you towards a vision which has a larger sort of a being about it, the purpose of your existence becomes that vision that my industry, one of the largest ones in the world, it's an $11.2 trillion industry, right? The ones that we are all a part of. It needs sorting out. What am I doing about it? And I have started this journey. I can do something about it and I must keep going. That sort of a belief has to be there, Otherwise, you'll pack up very early and just go back to your next big fat paycheck or a cushy job.
सर सो स्टार्टिंग में आपका कितने टाइम बाद यू वर गेटिंग सम मनी फ्रॉम द बिजनेस कि आप दोबारा डाल पाओ कि इन्वेस्टिंग प्रोसेस चलता
नहीं, business has always kept earning for itself. Business has earned, but has it earned to a point where we could scale the business up based purely on the earnings? No. So the business was paying for a part of the earnings were paying for a part of the business, but the scaling up, going international, hiring better talent, bringing out more new offerings in the product, adding more use cases and features to support those use cases, and grow at a pace faster than what the business earning was offering. For that, fundraise was necessary, and we continue to raise funds for that.
Obvious software company, I think they require, most of the time they require it. And sir, when you started, you had enough corporate experience.
Yes.
So वो आपको help किया कि और you were thinking और पहले start कर देना था?
नहीं, जो देखो, experience is always good. Good experience brings good results. Okay, so few things that I've had the privilege of working with some really, really wonderful people in right from the time that I finished my master's, and in every stint I've learned something or the other. I've had good role models. I've had people who have looked out for me, and as a result of that, I have realized that what does it need for me to be a good leader, the challenges have always been there, and but there is a way to respond to the challenges.
Right.
I think that is what got taught in my corporate journey of about 12 years. And आज भी चैलेंज आते हैं, आज भी नए टाइप के चैलेंज आते हैं, हर रोज आते हैं. That's the uncertainty of startups is extremely challenging. It challenges you in a new way and plus now today we deal with a workforce which is not as mature as the kind of people that I have been used to working with. So you have to deal with that level of, you have to coach those people to also think in a particular manner during a course of how do I put it, a particular thing that you're dealing with in a particular phase of your organization. So to answer your question, what I learned as a part of my corporate journey does help me on a daily basis to address the challenges today. But the learning never stops. You learn new things. It is how open and embracing you are towards learning on a day-to-day basis, and being okay with being challenged. So one of the biggest challenges for me, for instance, and I still have not totally overcome it, I think I've come a long way, is the ability to kind of accept that I will be challenged by really, really awesome minds on a day-to-day basis. Because if I have been able to bring some really awesome minds into my organization, they will challenge me on a daily basis. And I have to be okay with that. And that's my real trip these days, so people will come and challenge me.
Right.
देखो ऐसे होते हैं, कुछ लोग तो ऐसे होते हैं, they don't deserve to challenge you. You don't have to waste time on them. You have to kind of detach very quickly from those kind of distractions, I call them. But then there are really, really solid minds also that come and join this vision that you have created for yourself. And you have to be absolutely okay with people, smarter minds, no matter what their age is, challenging you. And because that is where the learning happens, that is where development happens, that is when progress really happens.
So Trezi का जो business है, so mostly who buys it? Builders, architects or interior designers?
या जब स्टार्ट किया था ना, Smartviz जब स्टार्ट किया था, तब the user persona was very simply the developers. कि उनके जो projects चल रहे हैं, instead of the fancy pictures,
Godrej, Amrapali,
and these Shapoorji Palanjis and all the big names, and they still are customers, a lot of them, कि उनके जो अभी marketing material fancy pictures बनती हैं, we will give them a walkable walkthrough, and their customers will be able to walk through their future dwelling they might be a part of, or the corporate office that they might be a part of. And that offering still remains, but that's taken a different shape and a different name in the lines of businesses that we today have. Trezi's journey what was a very monolithic sort of a journey when it started out in 2019, 2020, is now become three-pronged. The reason why I met you, Trezi Academy. So we are giving access to the students to kind of work with new technologies at a very minimal cost. If that means that we need to support them with their hardware needs, we do that too. But that is the third part of the business, which is more like making the business more future proof so that we create users of tomorrow. You've called me because we met in 2020, right? So what we seeded back then is what is now taking shape. But the two main offerings have now become Trezi Lens and Trezi Showcase. So the monolithic product has split itself into two. Lens is for the architects and designers, and Showcase is for product manufacturers. Now, what does Lens do? Lens is, जो मैंने बोला था, take your Revit model, SketchUp model, Rhino model, whatever, bring it into Trezi, interact with your design team, interact with your client, show them what it is about. But design does not end there. Design needs products, right? There has to be toilet fixtures, there have to be flooring, there has to be table, there has to be light fixtures. Showcase now works with the product manufacturers who upload this product information in digital format, in 3D format. And the Trezi Lens user brings that digital information into Trezi Lens from Showcase and delivers it to the customer. Now, imagine this. I am the architect, you are my client, and she is the supplier of light fixtures. She has uploaded information onto Trezi Showcase platform. I have taken it into Trezi Lens and I've shown it to you. Okay. Primarily, सारा B2B association है. Tomorrow, there will be an ability for you to take these light fixtures, select them and order directly. The B2C aspect of the business will start to open up, and that is what we are currently chasing.
काफी कॉम्प्लेक्स.
बहुत सिंपल है, बहुत सिंपल है. अभी इनफैक्ट ऐसे सोचो, जो अभी आप फिजिकली डिलीवर करने की ट्राई कर रहे हो. अभी आप क्या, चलो आज का सीन लेते हैं. लेट्स सिंप्लीफाई दिस. आज क्या करते हैं, आप मेरे क्लाइंट हो, मैं आर्किटेक्ट हूँ, शी इज अ लाइट मैन्युफैक्चरर. मैंने बोला कि प्रतीक सर आओ डिज़ाइन दिखाता हूँ आपको. आपने डिज़ाइन देखा, मैं प्रतीक सर कल अगला हफ्ता फ्री रखना, MG रोड जाएंगे लाइट फिक्चर्स देखने. ठीक है, तो हम गए MG रोड में अपने लाइट फिक्चर देखे. यार गौतम समझ नहीं आ रहा कि मेरे डिज़ाइन में कैसा लगेगा. आप प्लीज़ मेरे को ट्रस्ट करो प्रतीक सर. अच्छा ठीक है, ट्रस्ट करता हूँ यार. तो मैडम ये लाइट फिक्चर आपने शोरूम में जाके ऑर्डर दिया, लाइट फिक्चर आपके घर में आए, लग गए. 10 दिन बाद फोन है, यार गौतम मेरे को बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आए. मेरे 5 लाख रुपए तो आपने लगवा दिए. मैं तब भी आपको बोलता मेरे डिज़ाइन में तो दिखा देते कम से कम.
राइट.
रिलेटेबल होता है,
अभी हो ही रहा है,
हो रहा है ना, बिल्कुल होता है ना. सो नाउ वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू MG रोड because we've got the light fixtures in Trezi Showcase. You are sitting at your home in Calcutta. I am sitting here in Delhi. We have all met in a virtual environment. Virtual environment of your home, where the light fixtures that she is offering are actually put in that virtual environment. You're seeing it off your tab that you have with you currently. I am inside my headset and she is sitting on the desktop. Your devices, your own way of entering a Trezi teleport meeting, where Trezi Lens is allowing for your residential model to get uploaded. It has allowed for the light fixture person to put the light fixture in and show the light's behavior. And you have liked the light fixture, the way it will look in your environment. And you said, now I feel happy. Now I understand. So, ma'am, please send me 10 of these light fixtures. I am transferring the money. What I want to do is, I want to allow for the transaction to also be done off my platform. So, that is what the future is for Trezi.
सर इंडिया में आपको क्या लगता है VR कितना अभी एक्सप्लोर हुआ है? मुझे लगता है आई थिंक 10-20% भी नहीं कर रहे हैं.
कल ही हम एक स्लाइड बना रहे थे बैठ के ऑफिस में. द अवेयरनेस इन इटसेल्फ इज अबाउट 30% एंड द अडॉप्शन इज सिंगल डिजिट. नाउ is VR the solution? Is VR the end all be all? I can now today tell you that VR is one offering out of a really large immersive sort of a play. ठीक है, so there'll be VR, there'll be mixed reality, there's AR, there's various things that will happen. So we do not need to get stuck at VR. Like I come from a time when there were no computers at all. We were still on drawing boards.
Right.
And we used to have computer lab, जो एक हफ्ता पहले जाके बुक करना पड़ता था कंप्यूटर. तो एक हफ्ते के बाद आपको 286, 386 टाइप की मशीन, पता है क्या नाम होता था उनका उस टाइम पे. और DOS, AutoCAD रिलीज 10 पे मैंने शुरू किया था. DOS ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम था तब. विंडोज तो 99 2000 के बाद शुरू हुआ था. So that particular stage is, there's a parallel between the current stage and that particular stage, you know. So the offerings that got created at that point in time in a very, very basic manner were a huge leap for the profession, because in 5 years, the drawing board vanished, right? So in the next 5-6 years, there will be a bouquet of new technologies where there'll be AI, There will be real-time rendering, which we are seeing it already, by the way. It's not that it's going to be happening tomorrow. It's already happening. There will be the mixed reality components of design visualization and design finalization and design collaboration, which will all coexist. And the next big leap, the inflection point, is going to happen in the state of technology in the industry. And that is what we have to be ready for. That is what we have to start moving towards. Isme challenges bahut hain. Log, you'll find it really, really funny that the kind of hardware that people use in our industry, how bad it is still. और आप जाके बोलते हो कि सर देखो अगर आपको ट्रेजी चलाना है उसकी रियल बेनिफिट चाहिए आपको RTX या GTX का ये आपको 3070 4070 ये लेना पड़ेगा. तो वो क्या होता है हम तो पेंटियम लोग अभी भी पेंटियम की बात करते हैं हमारी इंडस्ट्री में.
वो अभी भी वर्ड वाले सॉफ्ट वो ले रहे हैं.
Now so that is the state of technology. Now in this particular challenge, and I'm sure you'll have your questions around this. This is the way the state of technology has been in our industry, and it's not just India. It's everywhere. I mean, yeah, some countries are more advanced than others, but the mindset is still that, yeah, बिना पैसे खर्चा किए क्या कर सकते हैं.
Even in top firms of India, they are using very basic hardware.
You can't even imagine, Prateek, the kind of things I have seen and heard in my past 5 years. I can't state it on, I can put it on record on a mic, but I'll tell you offline. People are just mad. Some of them.
सर और क्रैक का इशू आ रहा है आपके सॉफ्टवेयर में?
बिल्कुल आ रहा है.
People can easily crack software.
People can crack software. People take pride in cracking software. People feel very happy कि अच्छा आप पेड सॉफ्टवेयर यूज़ कर रहे हो, मैंने तो क्रैक वर्जन यूज़ कर रखा है. One of a very, very respected and a person that I really admire and love, when he started using Trezi, he had to upgrade his Revit. He got upset with me. यार तुम्हारे चक्कर में मुझे Revit अपडेट करना पड़ रहा है.
पूरा 1 साल का पेमेंट lakhs.
Crack software is a reality. And like I said, people take great pride in it. We stopped our free trials primarily because people were misusing the free trials, and they were my friends, by the way. Some people that I have known for many years going into a party and after a few drinks talking about the fact कि अच्छा तुमने अभी भी पेड वर्जन यूज़ कर रहे हो गौतम के सॉफ्टवेयर का, मैं तो यार किसी की आईडी से अपना बना के ना हर महीने एक नया फ्री ट्रायल शुरू कर देता हूँ. And we are a poor startup, and that's what happens to us. So imagine what happens to the larger software giants who, and I'm sure their losses must be running in millions of dollars because people tend to find these leeways and exit routes, escape routes to bypass the need to pay for software.
So you cannot build a software कि जिसको क्रैक कर ही नहीं सकते.
I'm sure हो सकता है उसके लिए
और टेक्नोलॉजी और पैसा.
The pockets have to be really, really deep. I'm sure people. I'm sure that's possible. But when you think about it,
हमारे कंट्री में इशू है. People don't.
हमारे कंट्री की बात नहीं है. आप ये भी देखो ना यार, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट जैसी कंपनी भी नहीं इसको सॉल्व कर पाई है प्रॉब्लम को. सो एक स्टार्टअप दिल्ली में बैठ के कितना ये कर पाएगा. इससे अच्छा तो ये कि हम बस अपना सेलिंग प्रोसेस को ज़्यादा स्ट्रीमलाइन कर लें एंड वी गेट थिंग्स डन better.
कि लोग ज़्यादा खरीद ज़्यादा रहे हैं, क्रैक कम.
Sales process should be better. Yeah. The volumes should be there. Yeah.
So any new technologies में आप काम कर रहे हैं अभी? Or you
will
be working?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that are on the roadmap right now. But I think our journey is going to be more and more AI now, and AI not for the heck of it, sort of an AI. AI that is going to help smoothen out the whole process of design finalization, product discovery, project delivery. Those are the kind of things that we are focusing on, which basically means that from a design finalization perspective, lighting is very important to us. We want to make it more intelligent and intuitive.
I think 2020 में आप उस टाइम पे RTX आपने डाल दिया था ray tracing.
तब नया था बिल्कुल. हाँ, absolutely right. Yeah, so we had just put ray tracing there, and it took us months to figure out the ray tracing journey. Today we've got artificial lighting in, we've got IES profiles in, so we are able to show the light behavior also inside the virtual environment. And now the next step really is that as you're building generating environments, Trezi should be able to tell you what are the right kind of products that you need to work with. It will connect you to the product supplier, and that product supplier will be able to deliver the product to your project. That's what we are trying to create a very interconnected sort of platform now. Key components of all of that are ready. We're just looking to raise more funds primarily to kind of connect it all together.
And sir, just one question just to clear my confusion. Trezi mein we can do rendering also?
Now you can do rendering in Trezi. In fact, a lot of our users have done away with the other rendering softwares and using Trezi to focus on their rendering. It's a very interesting question because when we would have met, we were not focusing on rendering at all. हमारा गेम ही नहीं था. हमारी जब जर्नी शुरू हुई थी, हमने ये बोला था कि rendering softwares तो already हैं. We would make a collaborative sort of an offering. We would create a collaborative offering, but more and more users started demanding good rendering from us. And then we said, why not? Yeah, we should make that as a key part of our offering too, because that would, and it has helped in product stickiness. Then people don't need to work with 4 different products. Trezi as a single product will be able to serve your AI-based needs, your visualization, rendering-based needs, your collaboration-based needs, and eventually your product selection needs also.
Sir, in last 5 years college के शिंजनी के साथ ही बैठ कई बार बोला कि यार अपना सॉफ्टवेयर होना चाहिए इंडिया में, क्योंकि इंडिया के हिसाब से कुछ नहीं बना है. जो मैट्रिक्स और ब्रिक के साथ, अगर रेविट भी देखेंगे, ब्रिक वगैरह सारे फॉरेन के, यूरोप के हैं, अमेरिका के हैं, बट इंडिया कुछ नहीं रहता. सो you're like Bill Gates for us.
That's very kind of you. I'm nowhere close. Don't even, it's never a thought that's crossed my mind ever, because our struggles are very different.
हाँ, it is, but country में architecture industry में startups नहीं होते हैं. और people are,
that trend is, you're picking up a very, very important point right now, Prateek. And it's a very important point which should be,
I think वो मेन स्ट्रीम होना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल सही बात है. और अगर कोई, like I said, if there are young potential entrepreneurs who are thinking that they want to have their own startup, one thing that has happened, and this has been a part of my pitch for the longest, since day one, the interventions that we have in the tech-based interventions in our industry have been created by outsiders. Architect, like you just said, the architects from inside the industry have not created a solution.
Just एक ऐड करता हूँ, जो नई कंपनीज भी आई हैं, लिव स्पेस, होमलेन, दे आर इंटीरियर कंपनी, बट वो भी स्टार्ट किया किसी IITian ने जो कि बिल्कुल इस बैकग्राउंड से नहीं था.
They are not from the profession. Absolutely right. But I just wrote an article recently for this IIIT event. Said, 1999 when I went to do my master's, Prateek, I was just telling you about, that's the starting line of this article that I've written. Our course director, Tom Ewer, somebody I really, really admired and loved, I still kind of think about him a lot. First line that he said as an introductory thing for some 40 odd students who were sitting there day one of the course was that we need to get our act together as an industry,
right,
or some outsider is going to come in and tell us how to run our own industry. The names of the companies that you've just taken, those guys have come from the outside. They are tech entrepreneurs. They are coming and disrupting our space and telling us how to do work.
Right.
How shameful is that? In my opinion, it's extremely shameful.
Right.
So, and you asked me this question, right? कि इतना brave decision कैसे लिया?
It hurts my ego. मतलब जब मैं इनको देखता हूँ.
अब ये intervention खुद create करके अपनी industry से मुझे अपनी industry के लिए बनाना है. That is what keeps me going.
Yes,
that why should?
Yes, right.
And I mean, I've got some fabulous technologists in my group, and I'm very blessed to have them in my company. But the reality is, the thought behind the problem to solve, the solution to create, is ours, the architects, And that is what keeps us going. But what Tom said in 1999 is coming true. कि बॉस कोई बाहर से आएगा और आपकी इंडस्ट्री को चेंज करना शुरू करेगा. हो रहा है वो ऑलरेडी.
राइट. अभी शार्क टैंक का जो लेटेस्ट सीजन है वो मैं देख रहा था, उसमें नाउ फाइनली डॉक्टर्स आर कमिंग. अपनी इंडस्ट्री में टेक बना रहे हैं, नई चीज़ें बना रहे हैं. तो आई वाज लाइक कि डॉक्टर कर सकते हैं अगर इतने बिजी शेड्यूल में. वी शुड बी समवेयर एटलीस्ट.
वी शुड. एब्सोल्युटली राइट.
एंड आई थिंक जितना एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, AI हो गया, इमेजिन जितने भी सॉफ्टवेयर चल रहे हैं आजकल हमारे, ओपन AI के जितने भी इमेज क्रिएशन वाले हैं, कोई भी, नॉट अ सिंगल वन जिसमें आर्किटेक्ट से या किसी का कुछ इनपुट लिया गया है. आई थिंक इनपुट लिया भी होगा तो दैट इज जस्ट वेरी बेसिक.
इट्स अनफॉर्चुनेट. It's sad because क्या हो रहा है, and this is interesting. I mean, this is a part of a very large and long and painful for the insiders of the industry sort of a debate where you need a tech entrepreneur to come in and start creating livelihoods and jobs for you. Now, the home improvement companies that you spoke about, I didn't take any names and I won't. Those companies, their claim to fame is what? They're generating business for you, right? Now, why should somebody from outside need to come in and generate business for you?
Right.
You have given 5 years of your life. आज की तारीख में हम बात करते हैं 90 आवर 70 आवर वर्किंग आवर्स कितना घंटा काम करते थे भाई है टू जस्ट गेट कोई लिमिट ही नहीं थी ना 5 days we've gone during submissions just working on creating our maturing and evolving our design appreciation, design intent, the way designs would not be a banality, designs that will not be sore thumb sticking out like sore thumbs in the environment, built environment, but be contributing to the betterment of the of the mankind, because that will be a responsive piece of architecture that we would be associated with. That is our responsibility to the built environment. और वो तो सब गया थॉट, क्योंकि अब टेक एंटरप्रेन्योर आ गया. उसने बोला कि मैं आपको देखो ऐसा है, आपको करना क्या, आपको पैसे कमाने हैं ना, मैं आपको कहीं कम से कम 2 लाख रुपए महीने का कमाने की क्षमता दूंगा, आप मेरे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आके डिजाइन करो. ही इज योर एम्प्लॉयर, ही और शी इज योर एम्प्लॉयर, द प्लेटफॉर्म इज योर एम्प्लॉयर. राइट. You is that the life that you studied for? If you did, fine, all the best to you. I did not study for that, and this is another one of those mindset challenges that I spoke to you about, that what is it that keeps you going? It is this intervention which will help us do what we committed to doing, creating a built environment that is for the betterment of the mankind. That is the kind of intervention that we need. Sustainability, more effective, more efficacious, less wastage, lesser gap in understanding, delivering projects on time, on cost. That is what is important. And that is what we need to get done through tech interventions. We don't need a platform where I go in and enroll as an architect and you give me job or give me projects for me to earn money.
Right. वो भी आर्किटेक्ट इंटीरियर के काम कर रहा है, नॉट प्योर आर्किटेक्चर.
उसमें बहुत, मैंने बोला ना, बहुत ही बड़ा पेनफुल टॉपिक है. इसके बारे में तो हम फिर महीने निकल जाएंगे बात करते करते. This could become an interesting topic of thesis for a student, these days. I would have loved to do a thesis on this topic in my final year.
सर, और ये जो हमारा, I should frame in different way, जो इशू हम ये फेस कर रहे हैं, माइंडसेट इशू, आई थिंक 30-40 years बैक जब हमारे पेरेंट्स थे तब ठीक था कि दे वर फाइंडिंग जॉब्स, कि यार अच्छी स्टेबल जॉब मिल जाए ताकि फैमिली को हम सब कुछ दे पाएँ. आई थिंक नाउ वी आर इन अ सिचुएशन कि माई जनरेशन पीपल, कि वी कैन डू मैनी थिंग्स, एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं नई टेक्नोलॉजी, इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग जॉब फॉर 5-6 years. कुछ नया ट्राई कर लो, हुआ तो बढ़िया, नहीं हुआ तो ऑब्वियसली इंडस्ट्री में बैक जा सकते हो. बट वो इशू हमारे, मोस्टली मैं कंट्री में बोलूँगा, माइंडसेट में मेरे अपने साथ वालों को देखा है, दे लैक करेज टू डू एनीथिंग न्यू. और हमारी इंडस्ट्री में तो और कम होते ही गया है. और वो इन सब चीज़ों का बेस आ जाता है कि सैलरीज कम है, सैलरी कम से जो स्टार्ट होता है, फिर वो ये इफेक्ट आता है कि कोई स्टार्टअप्स नहीं आते हमारे उसमें.
क्वेश्चन क्या है?
सो ये मेरा जस्ट ओपिनियन था.
ठीक ओपिनियन है, बहुत अच्छा ओपिनियन है. एंड दैट्स द व्हाट यू हैव जस्ट आर्टिकुलेटेड इज द वे द एंटायर प्रोफेशन हैज इवॉल्व्ड. एंड नॉट जस्ट प्रोफेशन, आवर प्रोफेशन, जस्ट द वे हाउ employment as a concept has changed. Today you'd rather be self-employed than go into a job. And there are 2 or 3 things that have contributed to it. One, this whole startup culture, the glamour of the startup world. कि boss, आज इस valuation पे होऊंगा, 5 साल में 50,000 crore की valuation पे होऊंगा, मैं unicorn होऊंगा. So that glamour, the journey that it's going to take, there's very little appreciation for that, or only people who have done that particular journey will truly understand what it has taken for them to get there. That's a significant contributor, the whole startup culture, and I like that culture, to be honest. The amount of disruption, the change of status quo that happens in this sort of an ecosystem, I believe contributes to the betterment overall. But the important thing is what we spoke about 10 minutes back. The direction, the commitment, the focus has to be there. If you're coming in and thinking that, boss, I am starting up to earn fast money and become rich, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, rarely does that happen. Even with the most successful entrepreneurs today, it's taken a lot of courage. I mean, right. I'm sure that there are enough and more examples how people literally put every bit of their saving into running their startup, and then there are times when you go through a turmoil completely as a startup. So you have to be, it's not easy, it's very tough, it's very demanding. So the whole concept of employment moving towards being self-employed is very exciting for me, and I think it's good for overall betterment of and improving things from a perspective of improving things. But you got to be ready for challenges, So ultimately, तो फिर नहीं तो एंड में वही होने वाला है. आप जो अभी आपने बोला आर्टिकुलेट किया था कि फेल हो जाओगे, फिर नौकरी में जाओगे, नौकरी में खुश नहीं होगे कि मेरे को तो बहुत कम पैसे मिल रहे हैं, काम भी नहीं अच्छा कर पाओगे, फिर काम भी नहीं करोगे अच्छा कि मैं 9 से 5 ही काम करूंगा भाई, घर जा रहा हूँ.
राइट.
सो
चल रहा है ना. सो लेट्स एंड विथ अ लास्ट क्वेश्चन.
हाँ जी.
एडवाइस फॉर इंडियन, पर्टिकुलरली इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स, किस इंडस्ट्री में, किस टेक्नोलॉजी में काम करना चाहिए इन फ्यूचर में?
इन आवर इंडस्ट्री
एक्सेप्ट सर्विस बेस्ड डिज़ाइन करना है, एग्जीक्यूशन करना है, other than that, what are the possibilities?
I'll tell you honestly speaking, I think the prop tech space is very interesting and very exciting, but हम ना prop tech में confuse जाते हैं. We are not property consultants, you and I. Right. We are architects, right? There is design tech side of things and there is construction tech side of things. So if there is a way in which you can make more intelligent and more responsive designs and create a technology that allows for that to happen, that is a very exciting space, and there are ways of and means of doing that, which could probably mean, though it will require a lot of funding and really, really high-end skill set, creating a modeling language, LLM, AI, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
For you to be able to kind of do something which is more prompt-based. There will be a challenge. There will be the mindset issue that, boss, it's a creative task. How do I kind of make it a prompt-based task? You'll have to deal with that, figure it out. And I'm sure a young entrepreneur will be able to. The other side, which is very exciting for me, is the construction tech side of things, वो तो untouched है in a way. वो तो उतनी ही खराब है जितनी होती थी. Processes हो गए, हमने पढ़ लिया critical path method और PERT और CPM, वो सब हो गया. लेकिन भाई उसका implementation कौन कर रहा है? There is very little improvement that has happened in that space. I mean, you go to your own construction site. From the construction sort of hardware that people use, to the construction methodologies, to equipment, to safety gear. चप्पलों में लोग काम करते हैं, scaffolding कहीं से टूटी हुई होती है. You don't even know how many deaths happen on a construction site because that is the callous level of commitment that we have towards human life, especially on a construction project. So that space is very interesting. Now, if you can go and unearth a few things there, I wish I could do that. I don't think I'm way too committed in Trezi right now to be able to look at that, but you never say no. I don't think age is a matter. I think it's more like a commitment, and being committed to a task is what brings result. But it's a huge space. So construction technology, whether it is from a site management perspective or a construction methodology perspective, those are areas crying out loud for disruption. Right. Do that, look at that. It can create the next big thing for our industry for sure. And in our country especially, because we are so backward when it comes to construction.
Thank you so much, sir.
Perfect. Right on time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
And it was like a mini MBA for me.
No, yeah, it's good. It is fun to do these things.